Who would you be if you stripped away all of the titles that you're currently carrying? So if you wasn't mum or the caregiver or the homemaker, that friend that always gets relied upon, even the employee, what's sitting beneath those identities? And why is now the best time to start exploring what's underneath? I think that midlife is just one of those turning points. I think that's why everyone says that they're having a midlife crisis, because you get to this point and it's like, what's left? What else is there? Is this it? I think are some of just the questions that naturally come up. If you have already watched all of the videos, in which case I love you loads, because I don't think there's going to be hardly anyone that's been through the whole of the previous set. I spoke a lot about the action items because I knew that that was like the sequence of events to get you towards a goal. It's identifying what they are, putting focus into them, taking small steps, celebrating tiny wins, pivoting when you need to, like recalibrating, and finding an accountability structure to keep that momentum and motivation going. And for this coaching side of me, I think that's a really solid foundation to build upon. For this next chapter, and if you, as I said, if you'd watch the channel, you will see that I've changed the colouring just to recognise that was sort of almost like chapter 1, and this I feel is a really strong chapter 2. Is you've done the doing, you've done the action steps, it's now time to walk the walk and show up being the person that you're aiming to be, and identifying more. So it's about the identity shifts and how we can start embodying the person that does the things. It makes sense. I'm sure it makes sense in the end. If I use my own story or some of my own stories, sometimes change doesn't stick because we know the actions to do, but we don't align with them. So we don't feel that we are that person. So it might be, for example, with the whole weight loss thing, is that you know all the steps to take, but the reason why they're not sticking is because the story that you tell yourself is, I'm always rubbish, I always quit. Or it might be that the story you tell yourself is, I can't succeed in that thing because it's not for me. I'm not meant to be an entrepreneur. I am an employee, and that's the identity that you're sitting with. So the jump from being a paid employee to taking the leap and launching something for yourself is a jostle. I don't know if that's the word, but it's like having a battery, you know, when you put two opposite sides of a battery together and they can't quite stick, they do this. Whereas what you need to do is show up in the new identity that attracts. So you've got the two good sides. So the new identity then attracts in. So think about, so the idea is that if you can build yourself to be that person, I don't know, I'm trying to think of examples that makes it make sense. So if you are super fit and you go to the gym every day, that is like a non-negotiable. You wake up in the morning and it's like, I go to the gym, I'm a gym person. I might wake up in the morning and be like, I hate exercise, it's not for me, and I'm not a gym person. So if you asked me to start going, it would be a lot harder because I'm like, that's not me, that's not who I am. I'm a stay at home, get the house clean sort of person. Whereas somebody else might be I love being out and about in nature, and actually in my house is just somewhere I sleep. It's not their thing. So hopefully this is making sense now, is that your identity and the identity narrative that you have on yourself shapes the actions and the beliefs and the things that you do. If you were a risk taker, you might be really happy to do things that are outside of your comfort zone and take a chance on new things because that's part of your identity. If your identity tells you, no, you need to keep safe and do the same things because that's safe and secure, taking a risk and doing something that's a little bit outside of your comfort zone feels a bigger jump. So really for this chapter, I wanted to spend a lot more time drilling into what identity that you would like to be showing up as. So as I said at the beginning, if you stripped away all of the name tags that you might already have and actually sat with, like, if I was to achieve the thing that I wanted to achieve, so I don't know, if it was the weight loss thing, if I wanted to lose all of that weight, what identity would I be showing up with? Would I be the person that, I'm going to go back to me, I was like, and I still am, if I go to the cinema, I want to have popcorn because that's part of that experience. If I was showing up with no, I'm somebody that's really serious about looking after my health and managing my weight, I might be quite happy to be the person that's like, do you know what? Losing weight and preserving that weight loss really means a lot to me. I'm very happy to go to a cinema and take my own snacks because I can calculate the calories beforehand and I can have a diet drink when I'm there. And that's your identity. So that's the way that you show up to things, because you're shifting the way that you view life to make it align with the thing that you're trying to achieve. And I think that they do sort of, as I said, you need to know the processes, and then you need to start looking at, okay, what am I doing that means that I'm aligned with that? One of the things that I really want to do, and again, I think I've already put a story on saying about this might sound silly, but I also, and like, this might sound silly, but one of the goals I have will be to get to a point where I have one of my social media channels as monetized to give me an income stream that will then help me provide free content along the coaching lines, and that will subsidize my income for later years. So I need to shift my identity to that of a social media influencer, which, even as I'm saying it, sounds ridiculous, but that's one of the things where, again, it's you sort of, you feel the resistance. So you can feel the resistance because that is a jump. And I look at people that are on social media, and whether it be, this platform or one of the others, and they all seem like they're at a certain level and I'm down here maybe, but I feel like I do need to be showing up with the intention that I want this channel to grow. I want to provide that amount of value for anybody that's watching to be like, do you know what? I watched that video and that really made sense, and I'm going to do something differently, or I'm going to connect with her in the comments, or sometime down the line there might be a worksheet or a way of working with me for more tailored support. And I want to create the content that's going to generate enough feeling that somebody would want to do that. And in order for that to happen, I need to be showing up regularly. I need to keep that commitment to being, do you know what? Part of my identity is going to be, I'm showing up every Monday, talking about a personal development, midlife coaching style topic, and sharing it on my channel every Monday. And again, is that something that you're doing intentionally, or is it a bit like, like, if that makes sense? I hope it makes sense, because I feel like all the other topics have been easy because they've been quite factual based, and now because we're talking around more feeling based and like personal, it's a little bit less like, and then you do this and then you do that, when you're like, okay, you need to show up feeling in a certain way and act as if, can be a little bit trickier. But that doesn't mean that it's not worth doing. And I genuinely believe that you're not too old. I think that at this this point in life is a really good time to take stock and go, do you know what? There's still a little bit left. There's still more I want to be able to share. So if it means I'm turning up and shifting my identity to be somebody that does and is, then so be it. So yeah, that's the that's the first part of this new chapter. I'm probably going to watch this back and be like, oh, cringe, but I'm also not going to refilm or like edit it to take away some of the ramblings, because I want to be able to look back on these videos, possibly specifically this one, and be like, oh my god, look how nervous I was when I showed up and said that I wanted to pursue this, and that I wanted to actually be a coach, like, rather than up until this point. And it's not like I haven't coached people yet, it's not like I haven't already passed my qualification. I've spent 2 years, I've spent 30 years in advice and guidance, I've spent 2 years doing a qualification, and I have been coaching since then. Yet when I'm out and about and people ask me what do I do, I will always tell them the day job. And if anyone then says, oh, but she's also been doing this, if it's like somebody that I know that's I've been working with, I'm a bit like, yeah, but you know, that's not real. When really what I need to be really confident with and really comfortable with is have shifted my identity to say, yes, you know, I'm a life coach, and I help midlife women step into the next chapter of their life, or I help midlife women achieve the goals they always felt were too silly and worried that it was too late to do anything about. I need to be owning that and being in that space, and that's where that identity shift comes. So as I said, yours might be completely different. You might have something else that you're working on, or a particular goal that you're looking to achieve. And what my question is going to be is, have a think about if you had achieved the goal, or if you was at a point where you had done whatever it was that you're trying to do, how would you be showing up? What would be the identity that you would be portraying? And then we'll go right the way back. What are the small steps that you could be doing, or the tiny wins that you could do to show up in that way and make it feel more authentic for you? As always, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.